Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome back to Death Stranding. Let us now reconnect with the living. Although, if I remember correctly, this clip is also in one of the trailers. Again, interesting.
Listen, Sam. I was the one that brought you and Cliff together again. There was something I wanted you to know. You were never abandoned. And you're not alone. Don't you see, Sam? You have to live.
Okay. Alright. And now here we have 5 figures floating above the... it's interesting just how so much requires context in this game. Like... that without context, all of these images don't quite mean anything. Yes?
This way.
Are these actually not BTs, but they're actually... Is this Dead Man moving across the beach?
Coming, Sam. You ready, Andra?
Ready. Sam. Sam. I see them.
Okay. Lou, give me Sam.
Alright. But yeah, like so many of these images, like Sam being completely blue, pointing the gun to his head, like by itself, is a very strange image in the trailer. Or, hold on, 5 individuals. I assume they were the 5 extinction entities. But there's Fragile, Dead Man, Die Hard Man, Lockney, Heartman. 5 people. Okay, are we going to get an explanation as to how Dead Man has been able to bring Lou with him over to this beach? No? Maybe? Later? And now I have color, but Lou doesn't? Ah, you're welcome. Yeah, it doesn't help that it completely forgot how to actually check the weather. Like, I was so, persistent on just blazing a trail through every path I went that I didn't really bother using all the tools that I had accessible to me.
For too long have we lived as strangers to one another, divided by walls built to keep us safe. But now, with the completion of the Cairo network, we may at last move forward as a people united. Today we come together to celebrate the birth of a new nation for a new world, the United Cities of America. I once took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and though that proud republic may be no more, we remain. And so, as your president, I hereby swear to support and defend you, the people. Let there be no more walls between us, nor masks to hide who we are.
Why did he need a mask? He looks pretty awesome.
Let there be a new America. An America where we can face one another, where we can speak our minds and open our hearts. The old ways die hard, but I believe, my fellow Americans, that we have the strength and the courage to rise above our past
it's
and
Mama.
embrace our future.
Or at the they're twins. They look the
Death
same.
Stranding is a part of that past.
Hartman, you're missing the whole
Enduring
speech.
shadow, a constant reminder of what could have been. That we stand here today is testament, not
So,
to the
hold
greatness
on.
of any one individual, but to our capacity to come together, to the bonds between us, to our collective greatness.
Was I just essentially
All
given
things must
the boot
come together.
from the beach? Or should I say, maybe I wasn't given the boot from the beach itself, but
as
more
long as
like
we
their...
savor each moment, find joy in the promise of tomorrow, embrace hope, and reject despair, we will endure. President Bridget Strand and her daughter, Samantha America Strand, sacrificed everything in their pursuit of hope that we, the people, might be whole again.
Why does
They
he
are
have this weird
Not
sash?
here today to see the fruits of their labor fills us all with a profound sadness. But we find comfort in the knowledge that their memories will live on in the Cairo network and in our hearts. We will always remain connected. There's another hero in this story. One whose achievements seem destined to go unrecognized.
Although, you could also say that,
America still needs that hero.
his name is Hartman.
That person without whom we would not
It almost seems as though him covering up for
The
Bridget
name
and
is
Amelie.
unimportant. But you know who I mean. And for that unsung hero,
Like he
I have
is
a
still
message.
kind of wearing a mask.
It was you
A
who
political
brought us
mask.
together. You who made us whole again. And while you and I will eventually pass on,
Also, why can't we have President Die Hard Man?
Tired of being the unsung hero?
No, I'm done is all. She's gone.
Come on, wait. There's something I need to tell you. Huh. This doesn't bother you anymore? That's great.
Okay, but you can stop touching me now.
Would you like to know how we brought you back from the beach?
Sure, if you're gonna tell me, I'll
We
buy...
were going to use the doll, but didn't have one handy, which is when I remembered something else.
Not what I think it is.
Yes. What could be more connected to Amelie's beach than President Strand's umbilical cord? Hartman thought that's why she left it with me in the first place. Unfortunately,
It didn't work.
Yeah, she'd already cut her beach loose. It was just gone.
Okay, so that didn't
know
work?
if that meant she dragged you into the great beyond, or sent you to some other beach. We were really racking our brains.
Okay, but then you got to the solution.
Hartman and Mama split up and started searching every beach you might feasibly have washed up on. We looked for a month with absolutely nothing to show for it.
Wait, how much time did I spend on that beach?
A month on the outside. How long on the inside?
Trust me when I tell you, you don't want to know. But don't worry. We found no signs of accelerated aging. In the end, this is what led us to you.
The gun had a role to
Just when we
play.
were about to give up, Die Hardman reminded us about the revolver. So we tried to follow it, and it led us to a far corner of your own beach. And bingo, there you were. Mama made visual contact first. She was able to see you from her vantage point on the other side. She informed Lockna via their connection, and Hartman confirmed your location during his subsequent NDE. The plan was for Fragile to, in essence, slingshot Lou and me to your position so we could rescue you. But it's not so easy to send multiple individuals to another person's beach for an extended period of
Which
time.
meant that I needed to be in a
And,
specific
that's where
spot.
the umbilical cord came in. We wove these from President Strand's DNA. They serve as a single knot that binds us all. The President must have known.
Wait,
all
you're
this
wearing
happened.
her umbilical cord? Oh no,
Ironic,
you're
isn't it?
just wearing part of
The
her
gun
umbilical
that set
cord.
This whole mess in motion ends up being the key to saving you.
Amelie. She said it had another purpose.
Not a weapon, but a lifeline. A stick that became a rope. I suppose that's one way of putting it.
Yes, that's one way of putting it.
Oh, Sam. You have no idea how long I've been waiting to give you a hug. Got something else to tell you. Top secret. It's about Cliff. BB's mother's name was Lisa Bridges, Cliff's common-law wife.
Lisa Bridges.
Now, Cliff was killed by a man identified in the records only as John.
Okay,
Former U.S. Special Forces.
which
Quite
eventually
good at
became
it,
Die Hard Man.
Later appointed as an aide to the president, who used him for most of her wet work. The records go on to state that he vanished after Cliff's death. A warrant was put out, but he was later found dead. Turns out some people die harder than others, though. Dear John donned a mask and reappeared with a new identity.
No
You
one
can't
will
fool the
recognize
Card
me
Network.
with this
We restored the
skull
old
face.
records, and Mama hid them deep in the archives. You're the only one besides us with access privileges. Take a look if you're so inclined. But don't say I didn't warn you. The president's got some dirty, dirty laundry.
Yeah, we were just looking at your hologram.
But I'll work with him if that's what it takes. We'll talk later.
You're not very good at being, nonchalant.
Sam,
Yes. Is everybody wearing this?
I don't expect you to forgive me. But would you hear me out? I killed Captain Clifford Unger.
We know this.
I would tell you I did it for America. For love of country. But I didn't. I did it for
How
her
is this a revelation now?
because I loved her with all my heart.
Although maybe his confession is itself a revelation.
Everything to me. Everything. Now, I'm not trying to make excuses. I just want you to know that not a day's gone by when I haven't thought about it. Time didn't help. Or the mask. Please, let me finish. The captain, saved my life. You know why they call me Die Hardman? Because he wouldn't let me die. He brought my sorry ass back home every time. And I loved him as much as I loved her.
I can see why this guy got nominated for his acting at the Game Awards.
And when he stared me down, that ghost, I knew he was here to kill me, to make it right. And why shouldn't he? Why didn't he?
I wonder if the tears go down
He couldn't
preset
save
paths,
His kid, his baby.
or whether there's like a procedurally generated
That's what
tear
brought him
duct,
back.
like a procedurally generated tear path.
I guess when he saw I was trying to do my part for America, he remembered who he was, and he forgave me. God! But I don't deserve it, God damn it! There is no atoning for what I've done.
The ironic statement, Die Hard Man can't die. Not because he does not want to, but because fate conspires against him.
But maybe this is the next best thing. Maybe he brought me back from the beach for a reason. One last time. He wanted me to do this. To keep on being Die Hardman.
No. He didn't. Nobody wants a president who acts like they're immortal. And if you're not scared of death, how can you value life? And life is pretty fucking fragile right now. And yeah, the old ways die hard. But that's what's gonna have to happen if we're gonna come together and build a better America. That gun won't help you here. That's her words, not mine.
Okay, why wasn't there more cinematics where you had people talking to each other directly instead of via holograms? Like, I feel as though that would have made a lot of the story on the way to West Knot City much more impactful. Simply because, like, you spend so much time just talking to preppers via hologram. Stop shaking the baby!
Dead?
Poor thing was never truly alive. Not in this world, at least.
Stop shaking the dead baby!
The decommissioning order finally came through. Can't risk necrosis. The body can't stay here. I thought you might want to take care of it. You could try taking Lou out of the pod just to see what happens. That would be in direct contravention of an executive order.
Okay.
And there are laws about that kind of thing. Now that we're a nation.
Okay. When can I press square to open pod?
I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
I know, your desire to follow the rules.
But if the alternative is defying the president, I can't do that either. Not me.
Just give me the baby so I can open up the jar. Got it.
Go to the incinerator.
Before you leave, I'd like to check something quickly. I just took your cufflinks offline. In that state, there'd be nothing to stop you from removing them. If you did, the UCA wouldn't know where you were or how to find you. You'd be invisible. When you use the incinerator, you'll be reconnected to the network automatically. I trust you'll remember what I said.
Right. Absolutely.
So now I have one last delivery?
Thanks for everything.
Ah, hello. Are we going to walk together?
How's the weather?
Don't think you'll be needing an umbrella.
What about a sweet-ass umbrella?
I decided to follow my father's dream after all.
Which is?
Don't worry. I won't get mixed up with any terrorists this time. UCA's got my back. We're the first private delivery company to get the official approval.
Sounds like you're moving up in the world. Congratulations.
Thanks. Wait. There's something I have to tell you. I didn't shoot Higgs. Couldn't pull the trigger. So I let him choose. Death or eternal solitude on the beach.
And Higgs chose
I
death.
know. You never did like breaking things.
That's right. I find and fix what's broken. And reconnect. I'm fragile.
But
Not
not
that
that fragile.
Wanna come work for me? Could use a man like you.
If you've got some open
The world's still
positions,
broken. Same as before.
I might drop an
Isn't.
application in.
But we're still here. We're still chugging along.
Not everyone. Not me.
Come on. You put America back together, didn't you?
Doesn't mean there's a place for me. I've got no ties to anyone or anything. I might as well be dead. I felt like that when we first met in the cave. I still do.
Don't act like you're the same person. You've learned how to touch, to feel. You've connected with people. With us.
Everything I touch, I lose.
Sam!
Huh. You know, this kind of reminds me of the way the storyline is paced. It kind of reminds me of the video game Little Inferno, which, if you haven't played Little Inferno, I don't blame you. It's kind of like a little game. Very grindy, a little bit very repetitive in its motions. There's almost no storyline to Little Inferno. You've got this furnace, you throw things into the furnace, they start on fire. But eventually you reach the point in which you discover there's a way to exit the loop. You blow up the furnace. And then what happens at the end is a surprisingly lengthy piece of storyline. Oh, there we go. There's a surprisingly lengthy amount of storyline at the end. It very much backends its emotional plot lines, its emotional development. And I feel as though that is probably one of the more arduous parts of Death Stranding, is it backends its emotional storyline. It pushes it so far back. Like, you spend so much time going from prepper to prepper to prepper, only kind of seeing them from a distance. Like, I wonder if... I wonder what it might have been like if there was more, if the story was paced a little bit better. And that's a thing with Phantom Pain as well. Like, the story pacing in Phantom Pain doesn't quite work perfectly. You spend so much time doing a lot of repetitive actions, and then when you finally get to the end of the game, then you get to those bigger moments. So I wonder what they could have done in regards to pacing it out, because those last few scenes, from all the way from you appearing on Amelie's beach to now, were fantastic. And even now, like, I'm lacking a map. I try to go to... Clearly, the game doesn't really need me to do anything else. I can feel that change. How my character has evolved. Not just based on how he behaves within... not just how he behaves in cutscenes, but also how he handles just running around. He's just physically so much more capable. Now, on one hand, I'm not carrying any luggage, but the actual act of moving around is a lot less arduous. Which presents the idea that we are only as strong as the connections we make. Now, consider a character like Higgs. Higgs only had one connection, that being Amelie. He had isolated himself into madness. Similar to, say, how Amelie isolated herself into madness. And it was only by connections, connecting herself to others, that made her stronger. Nope. Although now I've got no power skeleton driving me, nor the ability to equip said power skeleton. But I have already been to this incinerator before. This is the same incinerator that I dropped Bridget off. And then there was the whole question of like, hey, how can Bridget be on the beach if you incinerated her body? And that is because she was like Mama and Lockney. Well, no using compass mode while walking across a ladder. They won't have that around these parts. Although now, at the very least, I'm not climbing these rocks. I've already climbed them before, but I'm not climbing them again while carrying a dead body on my back. And I suppose here's the thing. If I take Lou out of the jar and he does not survive, I can always just incinerate the body. There's no way that can go wrong. Ugh.